Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. As we get ready, we're approaching 10 o'clock here, so my apologies for the delay. That's, as you know, it's that one's on me. But we're about to get started. We got a really cool guest here, which I'll be introducing in a moment. And if you guys could please just take a moment and type in what you had for dinner, I'd be really curious to hear for several reasons. Don't ask why, just do it. And some of you know that we've been doing the old 30-second countdown for a while. And, I'll introduce this again that our boy, Tactical Pineapple, when we had him on the show, he came in and he made a brand new countdown for us. Now, the countdown is dope, and the music gives you that vibe of like that. Librarian that's playing Reading Rainbow, and it's like that. So it's really, really bad, and it's really, really good, and we love you for it. So enjoy. Man, I can really get into that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you, man. Chat's going crazy. How'd I get 17 messages in one? You had 8 eggs? You had an 8 egg omelet. Who are you, bro? Arnold? That's crazy. Dirt McGirt, what's up, brother? Mark Martin, got a bunch of Chenna members. Jeff Cron, 9mm Slim, Flying Rich, what's up, brother? Ro Abweem, and Zach Carr was a 16-ounce ribeye. Dang, y'all are eating a gang of protein. Christian Grest, who's our guest, said hot dogs. Unfortunately, I almost had hot dogs this evening. Hot dogs and fries. Had hard-boiled eggs for breakfast. Man, all these eggs. Joe Morris, what's up, brother? Opie, Scott, great to see y'all. Sport Brand, what's up, brother? Sport Brand, I need to talk to you about doing a DLD After Dark onesie, okay? But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get it started. So a lot of you guys have probably seen our guest, maybe featured on John Crump Live. You may have seen him, Truth Seeker, what's up? You may have seen him on The Gram. He's quite popular, and he's in the BOP, the Bureau of Propaganda crew, and he's crushing it. So I'd like to take a moment and introduce Christian Grest. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How about you?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Oh, we got Plastic Gats in the chat too. He was actually my last guest I had on, and you need to
Okay.
hear this guy laugh, dude. He's it's like this intoxicating laugh that could just fill a room with gas. It's crazy. He said, "Man, I had chicken parmesan and spaghetti with garlic bread. Dang."
Actually, it sounds pretty dang good. Better than what I had.
Yeah, really. Uh, Adam Grubb is in the chat. He's also a somewhat of a celebrity. I promise I'll tell you his story before we in the stream. But yeah, so let everyone know a little bit about yourself and what you do and all that jazz.
All right. So I'm Christian Grest. Run a small YouTube channel. Kind of got started off doing a little bit of photos and stuff over on Instagram, and kind of branched into the videography side of things a few years back, and just been having fun with it, and got some affiliations started with some folks. Got inducted into the Brownell's Bureau of Propaganda a few years back.
Yeah.
Rich and I, actually, Flying Rich and I were talking not too long ago. I was one of the earlier guys to get into that deal, and
Yeah, a few
great crew
years.
over there at
That's crazy.
Brownell's, and definitely super blessed to be a part of their circle, if you will. They do a good job, and for the Second Amendment, and take good care of their customers, and good care of folks that work with them and whatnot. So
Yeah.
it's been a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're good people, man. Every single person I've seen, like sometimes when you see people like in their professional capacity, and
Hmm.
then you see them, like, let's say on a live stream, you kind of see like, oh, this is who they are on the live stream, as opposed to, their professional, like, job or their role. But
Sure.
I gotta say, every single person from Brownells that I've seen, the only word I could think of is consummate, consummate professional. you know they
Yeah, for sure.
Brownells either has some incredible paperwork to keep them in check, or they are just great people, or a combination of both.
Oh, they're definitely great group of guys over there. Josh and Roy and Ryan and just everybody I've met and over there and been associated with and had conversations with, stuff like that. Always willing to help out with stuff, and just they're real big into hey, what do I need to be successful and to help me out, and
Yeah,
and I definitely try to reciprocate that. I try to share a lot of their content and stuff, and do content for them whenever I can. Um, I mean, this isn't like my primary job or anything like that. It's just a hobby, but
yeah,
I truly enjoy it. And, meeting a lot of cool folks. And, I've had a passion for firearms since I was just a young guy, and, grew up, so a little bit of my background before, the last few years, grew up in north part of Florida, out in the country, and
okay,
grew up hunting, fishing, playing around with firearms. Joined the military right out of high school. Spent 9.5 years in the Navy.
wow,
Got various small arms training with that. That was my primary job, but I was on the security team and had to stand watch and stuff. So I got some pretty cool training there.
yeah.
Um,
So you probably
and
got
then
to play with like everything from an M9 to Mark 19.
yeah, so I got, actually, we still had 1911s on my ship when I first came on board. So the
Dang.
Navy is always the last service, it seems, to transition fully from like older firearms, small arms to newer stuff.
Yeah.
And we had the 1911 when I first got on the ship back in the 90s, and we did the transition to the M9. And I remember thinking that the first time I shot a 1911, because I had never shot one prior to being in the Navy.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember thinking how just rattly and worn the hell out they were.
Mm.
Where I thought that I could, I'd have a better chance of. I couldn't hit nothing with it. It
Oh,
was
really?
that bad. I felt better just chucking it at somebody than actually firing it.
Yeah.
That's how horrible it was. I swear I never would own one. And then we got the M9s, and of course they were brand new, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, these are awesome. I shot them so well.
They
And
carry 16 rounds.
Yeah, more rounds and stuff. We actually had M14s on my ship as well,
Oh, nice.
which is, and I think
That's
all the Navy ships now have transitioned over to the M4, but we still had M14s. So that
so
was really cool to actually hold something historic like that.
let people know what a lot of people don't know what an M14 is. And it's yeah, let people know what that is.
So it's a beast of a battle rifle. So back
Oh
in
yeah.
I think it was in the early '60s, it kind of replaced the M1 Grand. So
Yeah.
I actually have a soft spot in my heart for those. I have a few of those in my collection. But the M14 was the battle rifle to replace that. So a lot of the action is based off of the M1 Grand, but it took a detachable magazine instead of an end block clip. And they also made it fully automatic, whereas the M1 Grand is semi-automatic. And
Yeah.
the M14, if you imagine a 7.62 NATO or a 308 round in full automatic, it's
With
just
a 20 round mag.
it's almost ridiculous to shoot it. Like it's a waste of time. You're better off shooting it, semi-automatic. And it didn't have a very long service life as far as the main battle rifle from the U.S. The M16, of course, came along, in the latter part of the 60s and took over from the M14. But the M14 still saw service for decades after in the Navy, and I think they brought it back, like in Afghanistan, because they needed something to reach out a little further. So there were some
Yeah.
limited use over there as well. But it's an awesome rifle. I actually have an M1A in my collection, so
Nice.
military version of an M14 is pretty much unobtainable in the
So
civilian world. So,
I had the opportunity when I worked at a shop. Um, I was going to purchase a machine gun. I was
okay.
like, I've made my decision. I am going to purchase. Well, for everyone out there, a legally purchased, transferable pre-86 registered machine gun, dirt bags. Um, but we had this collection that we came across. There was this guy, Ruben the Cuban, we call him. His name is Ruben. He's out of Miami, and he just moves machine guns like crazy, and legally. And I'll let you know why I'm making sure that I'm focusing on that here in a little bit. But we had on the wall an M16 that was
Okay.
kind of modernized. We had a couple Macs. We had a 380 Mac that my buddy bought. It was like 3,200,
Oh, wow.
and then with the can, with the
Hmm.
I no with the I think it was Cobra SWD, whatever it was. It was it was a factory can, and we had an M14, an actual M14, and a Ruger AC 556, and I have this like soft spot in my heart for the Ruger AC 556. It was the 12.5 inch barrel, the safe semi 3 round burst full auto selector.
Yeah.
And when you have those two side by side, the AC 556, which is basically an M14 that's scaled down, it's just like a tiny version of each other. The selector switch is even the same. It's got that little push button that
Yep.
roll. Yeah, it's just like that. And I gotta say, man, when I handled that M14, I was like, dude, I really want to actually purchase this, but number one, price. Number
Yeah.
two, blowing a 20 round mag of 308, just like whack, and then being done. Like I was like, man, I can't do that. So I bought none of them, and then my buddy bought the M16. So I still get to have fun with that. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah, they're yes, the Mini 14 in full auto accepts is 223. Correct. Or no, I think I think it's 556. I think it was actually stamped 556. I'm not sure though. That's a good point. That's like
Hmm.
the it was the famous 1980, was it 86 or 80, whatever the Miami shootout was. It was made famous from that shootout.
Okay.
Um, that's when police like started up in their game a little bit more with what they carried. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't mind having something full auto in my collection, but gosh darn, that stuff's so expensive.
I know, man. I know it's all pay to play. I kind of feel like are, what they did and what they're doing is the same thing that they did in 1934 when they said, "Okay, you want to own this kind of stuff? You have to pay $200," which at that time was like the cost of a Model T.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of money back then for sure.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, brand new Thompsons were like delivered to your front porch for like, $14.75, and like in custom cases, and is different world. So they wanted to price, well, my opinion is that they wanted to price people out of being able to get their hands on those types of things.
Oh sure.
And the same thing with the 86 Hughes Amendment.
Yep.
They're like, we're going to price you out. Supply and demand will change everything. And now machine guns are like, the forbidden fruit that only 0702 manufacturers can have normal pricing. So now we're paying $25,000 for a lower receiver and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'd like to see the day. It'll probably never happen that they repeal the 86 ban, the Hughes Amendment. So,
You and
um,
me both.
I mean, it, it's just crazy. I just still can't believe that. I mean, is the hoops you got to jump through for NFA items as it is. I mean, to just have a total ban on that stuff is just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because you're a normal person. I mean, anybody can go through the process. So I got a lot of suppressors.
Yeah.
I have a handful of suppressors.
Yeah.
I'm always buying those. And it's, the process is very long and arduous just for that. And a lot of people don't really understand as far as NFA stuff. They think, oh, are you allowed to have that? I get that
Yeah.
question all the time about suppressors. I'm like, yeah, you can have it. You just have to go through the proper steps and then wait your time and pay the tax and all that stuff. And, I've actually talked some folks into, going the suppressor route once they figured out, and I don't see a downside with having like a suppressor. And honestly, they shouldn't even be part of the NFA in the first place because they don't do anything on their own. They're not dangerous at all. And actually I don't shoot without a suppressor hardly ever anymore. Hunting or just, all my rifles, I always have a suppressor on them, except for my M1A. I haven't set that up for a suppressor yet.
There's some guns that just like aren't really suppressor friendly. I got a few of those too. Mark Martin, thank you for the super chat, Mark Martin. Good night, brother. And Mark Martin, don't think I was ignoring you. I just have to be careful about advice. But I could give you a great video to watch that will walk you through something. Matter of fact, go to CRS Firearms, and which that's a whole nother topic. But go to CRS Firearms channel, and there is a video when the auto key card was they finally had the examination letter on it, and he was talking to people about if they purchase an auto key card, what they should do. It's a great way for you to communicate that to your friend, just to keep your buddy out of trouble. But yeah, I mean, a lot of firearms, aren't like suppressor friendly. I'm also kind of like the weird guy that's like, okay, there's a way I can run a can on this,
Yeah, I'm the same way too. So AKs are notorious for not being super suppressor friendly.
Yeah.
And I had a Draco, and I was like, you know what? That little short sucker, it needs to be suppressed.
It's so loud. It's so loud.
It is. So I used an adapter and stuff, and was able to set it up. And of course, I did concentricity. I always screw up that word. You know what I mean? Make sure that it's concentric to the bore. And of course, it was like favoring one side. I was like, "Damn it!" So I sent it off, and I had it rethreaded, just to play it on the safe side. And it runs great. I added a K&S adjustable piston, and toned it down. It is so soft to shoot that thing.
Nice. Draco's so loud. Yes,
yeah, it is loud.
Yeah.
And fireballs too.
Oh yeah, man. And you can't. I actually have a chrome Draco, and a lot of people go nuts when they see it. Shooting Gallery New England, what's up, brother? He says BOP in the house. That's awesome. Thank you for the super chat, man. So I was tempted to put a can on the Draco, but I have this Polish underfolder, which I could, move the can from one to the other, but it being chrome, I was like, you know what, I don't want to put a brake on it that isn't like classic AK looking, so I have an AAC SDN6 308 suppressor, and I love that thing. It's awesome. And I have a Polish underfolder, and I got one of the I think it was from CNC Warrior. They do a lot of adapters, like this one was 14 by 1 left hand to 5/8 by 24. And what I did is I just probably very similar to you did. I checked the rifling to see if it was concentric with the threading of the barrel, and it was good. It was slightly favoring one side, but it's hit or miss with AK barrels. They're just
for sure.
it's crazy. But it was good, and I completely cleaned it, degreased it, and then I rock set one, the first mount on there, and
Okay.
then over 24, 48 hours after that was rock set. I came back and I rock set a AAC 51 tooth adapter on the 5/8 by 24 side. So it's a quick detach on an underfolder, and dude, it's cool as hell. It ejects with like hyper aggression at times, a little overgassed, but it's cool. People say the same shit. They're like, "Oh my god, a suppressed AK? Like I thought you couldn't do that." You know?
You can. You just got to be a little careful about it.
Yeah, yeah.
For
It's
sure.
it's definitely not like the manufacturing of ARs, guys. It's a little different.
Yeah. So I run all my suppressors except for one are from Rugged,
Okay.
and I actually should have picked up an AAC suppressor years ago. For I have a Noveski that's a factory Noveski with the 51T muzzle device on there, and it was kind of a
Nice.
limit. It was a limited production model, so I don't want to modify it, and I need to get at some point an AAC suppressor, but those things haven't been in stock
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Silencer Shop forever. It seems. One day I'll get one, just a 5.56 one for that. But I have all my cans are Rugged except for I have a rimfire can that's a Tactical Solutions, and I
Oh, nice.
contacted Rugged to see if they would make a they're going to start making any muzzle devices for AKs, and I was pretty much shot down by Rugged. They said, nope, we're not going to make those because
Really?
they don't want people putting them on AKs and then blowing them apart
Yeah.
and stuff, because
It's a lot of
people
liability.
a lot of people will roll the dice, or they don't know any better and just think they can throw something on there and be good to go. And yeah, so I kind of understand their logic behind that. But so when I had my Draco rethreaded, I had it rethreaded to 1/2 by 28.
Oh, wow.
Um, and then because there's enough meat on that barrel, on an AK barrel, to do that.
Yeah,
And then I put a QD mount from Rugged on there. So,
nice.
um, but
Yeah, I don't think there's
it
quite
shoots
enough
good.
meat to do 5/8 by 24. So, I mean, half
No,
by 28, that's is it difficult to find a half by 28 uh 30 cal can?
nope.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, well, not for the muzzle device. So all the Rugged cans, they don't even make all their cans are 30. The rifle cans are all 30 cal, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So, but they specifically make a muzzle device that's a 1/2 by 28 threaded, but a 30 cal, hole.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good for me.
What do you think
Um,
about the dead air what is it? The
the Wolverine.
Wolverine? Yeah, yeah.
That's a pretty cool concept, actually, because they machine it a little with looser tolerances to
Hmm.
allow for those sloppy barrels
Yeah,
that
yeah.
AKs are known to have. So it's actually a pretty cool thing. They say that they don't suppress quite as, like they're a little louder. The sound suppression's not quite
Yeah,
as good as it could be,
as far as
but it's a
decibels.
trade-off because it's a little bit bigger diameter hole, and I've considered getting one. I
Yeah.
actually have a couple $100 of gift cards through Silencer Shop from some of my last purchases, and I'm probably going to pick up another can. I'm not quite sure what I Rug is running a promotion this month as well with $200 back on a Micro 30, which is a can I don't have of theirs. I almost have their whole
Nice.
collection.
Really?
so so I may, and I have $200 off with Silencer Shops. I'm like, well, maybe I buy that, and then I get another 200 back from Rugged. So,
Yeah.
um,
It pays
but
for your tax stamp, man. It's
yeah,
I mean, I lucked out. I kind of was in the same boat. Like I just got deals that I couldn't refuse, the AAC SDN6 that was on the shelf for 1089 or something like that. I got for 525 for employee pricing. And
oh wow,
then yeah, I mean, I couldn't not do it. And like at the time I was like broke as hell, and I was just like, I'm gonna do it. Like hey, don't go to the grocery store. I need to. But I mean, god, I've been running, I cannot even tell you how many rounds to that thing. Like it is just a champ. And
yeah,
then I got back when like pistol cans were like really starting to become more developed, and like
Hmm.
the lids were becoming much more like fine tuned. You could originally it was like you can buy this 9 millimeter can and it's half by 28 and that's it. You can
Yeah.
buy this 45 can and it was very like one size fits all. And Gym Tech came out with something called the multi mount. Have you ever heard of that?
Yep. I have.
Yeah. Okay, so I picked up a 9 millimeter multi mount, and man, those two cans have served me so well. And I'm just not a 45 guy, so I'm just running basically 9 mil and most things that'll fit through that 308, and
Yep.
anything else I just don't suppress. What's the craziest gun you've suppressed?
Craziest 300 Winchester short magnum bolt gun.
Dang.
So unfortunately, it didn't suppress super well because it had a very thin barrel. I actually sold that gun not too long ago. I kind of gave up on it because it was such a light rifle. It was probably the lightest bolt action in a Magnum caliber that most people will ever run across. It was a
Was it
Tika
Savage?
T3 Light. No, it was
Oh,
a
okay.
Tika T3 Light and a 300 short mag, and I put a Bell and Carlson stock on there, which I think was even lighter than the original stock,
Wow.
and used DNZ mount for the scope. And I
Yeah.
think with scope and everything, it was like a tad over 7 pounds. It was nuts. And then, so it recoiled, it jumped so bad that I just could never shoot it. It was super good.
Yeah.
I was like, well, let me throw a suppressor on there because I know that kind of tames it down. I was like, well, add a
Yeah.
little bit of weight. The problem was is it had so much barrel whip from the weight on the end of the barrel that it just the point of impact shift going from non-suppressed to suppressed was nuts, and then
Too
it just
much. Yeah.
it lost accuracy so bad with a
Yeah.
suppressor. And I tried different suppressors. I even tried. I ordered all titanium can,
Hmm.
and it didn't make a difference. So it shot great with the muzzle brake on there, but it was loud as crap. And trying to hunt, with
Yeah.
it just I dumped it. I sold it not too long ago. I'll probably and I bought a 6.5 Creedmoor bolt gun to kind of take its place. But then I went the other end of the spectrum. I went from a super light rifle to one that was like 9.5 pounds before adding the optics, so it was on the heavy side. So
Oh, wow.
um, yeah, so I knew it was going to go. I knew I was going to kind of shoot myself in the foot with that,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I mean, it suppressed okay. Just the accuracy that it just wasn't very consistent with this can on there as far as the I couldn't group it very good at all. As a matter of fact, the last time
Yeah.
I shot with a suppressor, this was like the end of the last straw for me. Is I put the suppressor on there and I shot it at 100 yards and it was like almost off the paper on a zeroed gun.
What?
Yeah, it was clear at 3 o'clock off the paper. I took the suppressor. I shot 3 shots, and they were like I think they were all over the place. And then I took the can off and I drilled the bullseye with it. So
Wow. That's
for me,
crazy.
it just wasn't the right rifle. It needed a little bit heavier barrel, I think, to be effective with that. So that was a lesson learned on that. So you cannot suppress everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I learned, and that was an expensive mistake. I had a lot of money in that rifle, and I let it go
Yeah.
for nothing. I even dumped all my reloading components, ammo, and everything when I got rid of it. The guy that got it
Mhm.
from me, he got a steal for that thing.
Yeah,
So
really.
but I
Man,
just didn't want to. I didn't want to keep it and change my mind and decide to throw more money at it and do so because I was fixing to rebarrel it. I was going to spend the money 500-600 bucks and put a barrel on it that had a little
oh,
bit thicker
wow.
profile. And I just was like, you know what? Let me just start from scratch.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. A lot of people don't understand how important barrel profile is. We got a lot of people that, and I want the building community. We talked a little bit about building and building from '80s, and
Mhm.
I want the building community to continue to get as big as possible. But you do have a lot of people that, let's say they're building like an AR, and they're just scrolling through all these barrels, and they're like,
Yeah.
that one looks cool. I want this length, and they're not thinking that like they're putting a pencil barrel on something that they're going to run a can on, or they run a titanium can on a pencil barrel, and it's just like,
Yep.
like you have to make sure that that you take things like barrel profile,
For sure. It does make a
consistency.
difference.
Yeah,
Or you're going to end up with a package that at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy with it. And the thing about that rifle is I had it many years prior to even going down the suppressor route. And I just never shot it very good. And I just thought, hey, let me see if I can make this work. And
yeah,
it just, lesson learned. And I could have, like I said, rebarreled it and probably made a go out of it. It was a nice rifle too. The action, I don't know if you've ever handled a Tika
yeah.
T3.
Those are incredible.
Smooth, super smooth.
Yeah.
And this was an all stainless model. It was a gorgeous rifle. I after missing a couple elk with it in Colorado after spending the money out there, I just couldn't.
Oh man.
I had to get rid of it. It was a curse. Everybody's like, "Don't bring that rifle to elk camp this year."
Oh dang, that's the
So
worst. I mean, that's yeah, and I don't blame you for trying to work it out, man. I mean, that's I got a lot of projects that I just like won't give up on. I gotta say, I think my like oddest suppressed gun would be I got a prototype barrel from Lone Wolf
okay.
for a Glock 42 380,
Hmm.
and I saw a video on YouTube. This was like years and years and years ago. This was right when they were kind of rebranding to like the whole Alpha Wolf thing,
Yeah.
and they had in like their little garage sale page, it said Glock 42 380 barrel, Alpha Wolf barrel, threaded in half by 28. And then I saw another one that said Glock 42 9 by 18 Makarov conversion barrel, threaded in half by 28. And I was like, oh my God, what, which one should I get? I ended up getting, sorry, I gotta plug this bad boy up. I ended up getting the just the standard 380 threaded barrel. Man, I could not tell you how stupid quiet the 380, especially a very small 380 with
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
sub 3 inch barrel. I mean, that thing is just like the action only. Somebody earlier mentioned shooting, 38 special through a can, and there's just some rounds that are just so perfect through a can, and
Yeah.
that's one. It's weird. My can is heavier than the 42, but man, it's a blast. It's a
Oh,
blast.
that's cool. My very first can was around 2010 or 11. I don't remember. It's been a while. 10 years ago, I reckon. Was uh, a Tactical Solutions Cascade TI, all titanium rimfire can. I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna get my first can, let it be rimfire because I can shoot the crap out of it. And I have
Yeah,
a Kimber stainless 2 45 that I also had the stainless 22 rimfire
conversion,
conversion kit.
nice.
Well, nobody makes a barrel that's threaded for that conversion kit. So I
Yeah,
had a gunsmith friend of mine that actually he was a machinist by trade, but I think at the time he was part-time gunsmith, and then he later went full-time. He's a member of the Pistol Smith Guild, super nice guy. Actually, he's done a lot of work for me over the years. But he machined he turned down the barrel and he machined an adapter, and he even machined it where it looks part of the barrel.
nice.
He rock set it on there, so it just looked like a one-piece barrel, but it's not. It's actually two pieces.
That's awesome.
And it just looks, and that titanium can on that all stainless 1911 just looks freaking badass.
Yeah, that's a cool look, man. I've
So
always loved the look of a 1911 with a can on it. Like it's just got this like I don't know, classic but like crazy modern look to it. It's badass. But I gotta say, man, in all the guns I've built and purchased, and just my whole like God. a lot of firearms. I don't currently own any 1911s at all
Oh wow.
whatsoever.
Have you in the past though?
I had in the past. I
Okay.
had one that I had I'd call it a good uh, experience with, and I'm using that word very purposefully. And then another that I had a a poor, basically my first handgun when I turned 21 was a Springfield mil spec that was like Gucci'd out. Like the person that owned it before me put like so it was Parkerized, and they
Okay.
put a stainless controls, stainless like
On a
Punisher style
parkerized.
muzzle. Yeah, on a Parkerized mil spec, and a stainless magwell, stainless skeletonized trigger and hammer, stainless or no, the Punisher style muzzle brake was Parkerized, so that matched. But it just had this crazy thing, and I was a young dumb kid, and when I was 20 went to the shop, picked it out, paid for it, and came back when I was 21 and did the paperwork. And I did the paperwork. I got it, and I was like, "What's the first thing I'm going to do to this? I'm going to put pearl grips on it."
Nice.
So yeah, I put pearl grips on it, and I tried to carry it appendix, and that was not a good idea. With a Wilson 47D 10 rounder in it,
Yeah.
and man, you want to talk about an uncomfortable trip to Olive Garden, dude? That was that was not good. The hammer is like jabbing in my flesh, and just like I'm done. But it ran like a champ. Like never had any issues with it at all.
Yeah. You said it was a
And
Springfield, right?
yeah, Springfield
Yeah.
mil spec, and those run pretty well. Um, I've always liked the stainless GIs, but
Mhm.
they also are lacking some more modern thing, like the lower to flared ejection port, and kind of things that I think are important. Then I ended up later on getting a Kimber TLE2,
Oh, cool.
and man, I have never had so many stovepipes. Like I had to slap.
Was it an external extractor version?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a long history with Kimber.
Okay.
I've had quite a few Kimbers in my collection, and some have come and gone. I still got my very first one.
Okay.
Was that stainless too that I told you about,
Yeah.
and it was one of the infamous external extractor versions from the early 2000s. My wife got it for me brand new, for my birthday one year,
Yeah.
and I personally never had any issues with the external extractor.
Hmm.
I did have during the break-in. So Kimbers are notorious about being really tight and needing some break-in. I
Yeah.
did have some issues with failure to feed, and it was just a little bit of polishing needed on the feed ramp.
What kind of
Um,
mags were you running?
47Ds.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And Chip McCormick mags also.
Yeah,
So I
those are
have
the best two mags out there, guys. We got 50 people in here. If anyone out there is having problems with a 1911,
47D.
yeah, 99% of your 1911 problems can be solved by purchasing a Wilson mag or a Chip McCormick mag. And
Yep.
if you do a Wilson, get a 47D.
Yeah, and the actually the later Kimber Tac mags are actually they're actually really good too. I don't know if they still sell those or not. It's been a few years since I bought any, but those also run really well.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about those, they have a metal follower versus the plastic on the Wilsons, because those plastic ones on the Wilsons can crack over time. But I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like tons of rounds through them before
Yeah.
they wear out
Thousands,
like that.
thousands. Yeah.
But yeah, so Kimber, it was a few years later. I was like, hey, I want to pick up some extra spare parts for that pistol for the external extractor, and I contacted Kimber, and they were like, we don't sell any parts for that external extractor, and they were like, send us your pistol, and I sent it to them. They replaced the entire slide free of charge, and this was many years later.
What?
Yep. So it
Wow.
went from a internal or external extractor to an internal version, and I've had the front strap checkered. It basically looks like a gold combat Kimber,
Okay.
but it's a stainless tube that's kind of dressed up with the upgrades to, the only thing it doesn't have that a gold combat has is the bushingless bull barrel. But other than
Yeah.
that, it looks identical. Same grips. It's got the ambi safety, the same sights, same trigger. I mean, I bought all the parts and kind of because couldn't afford the $2,000 that they wanted for one of those pistols, especially back then. So I just kind of bought the parts over time, and I'll
Yeah.
pass it down to one of my daughters, someday.
All right.
So the other Kimber I have is a Ultra CDP that I
Yes.
bought brand new, and I took it straight to the range, and I went through 500 rounds in one setting with no cleaning.
And
Because
it ran.
it ran 100%. Matter of fact, the last few mags I was running hollow points, ball ammo, reloads, lead round nose, everything like staggered in mags, and it ate it all up. And I've carried that pistol numerous times over the years. I kind of got away from carrying 1911s a few years back. Every now and again, if I'm feeling flashy, I'll carry it.
Yeah.
But for the and it's an easy shooter and an easy pistol to carry. But I just prefer, more modern pistols for daily, carry. They're just easier to carry because they don't jab you in the freaking,
Yeah.
with the beaver tail and stuff like that. So, but it's a beautiful pistol.
I've
And
always loved the ultra size. Like, there's just something about them that I don't know. So when I went to the shop, you got the guys that are like, you know, I do a lot of, research and, actually get information and then do my own thing and come up with my own, information, then deliver it to
sure,
people. Then you got the other guys that are like, I repeat what other people have been saying for 100 years. And, I went and chatted with them and I was like, so I'm thinking about getting an ultra carry to this, whatever the stainless one is.
hmm
Something that is just so special about the way they're stainless. Which one is it? Ultra carry or pro? No, not pro. Um,
the Pro is like the commander
Commander
size.
size.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like a 4-inch barrel. The
yeah,
ultras are a 3-inch.
yeah. And what those are? What, 6+1? The
7.
ult-
No, there's
Factory mags are 6+1,
six
but
plus one.
Wilson
Yeah,
mags are
or
seven plus
7.
one.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Um, and they're like, "Oh no, don't get the ultras. They don't work." I was like, "What? How
That's
could
not
they
true.
sell them? How on earth could they?" And I had just gone through that experience with the TLE2, and I was like, "Man, I guess Kimbers just don't work." Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think you can get a bad pistol. Kimber gets a bad rap. A lot of people don't like, a good quality pistol shouldn't need any sort of break in. But I'm sorry, I don't care who makes it. I'm not going to carry any damn thing until I get some rounds through it.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and Kimber, I mean, like I said, I got no complaints, and we've owned. I think in our household we've probably had 8 or 10 Kimbers. I still got 3 of them. I got a micro carry 380 that I've only shot like a couple times,
Hmm.
and then I have my stainless tube, that I've had forever, and then my
Yeah.
my Ultra CDP, and that Ultra CDP is I don't know how many thousands of rounds through that thing, but I've never had the first problem with it.
Wow.
I mean, that thing just freaking runs.
Now the CDP, that's the one where they've like completely rounded all the sharp
Yes. Yep.
corners
It's made for
and
carry. Yeah.
yeah, it is like a freaking bar of soap when you
Yeah,
feel
and
it.
it's their custom shop, one of their custom shop guns. So supposedly they get a little bit more attention. I don't know how true that is or not,
Yeah,
but it's a nice piece, and it wasn't cheap, especially for a carry pistol.
yeah. Well,
But
and those come from the factory. Aren't they typically like, do they have black frame, stainless slide, and like that reddish
they're
wood
two tone,
grain?
black frame. It's a aluminum frame with a
Hmm.
a stainless steel slide.
Gotcha. And they have wood grips from the factory, right?
They do. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I thought because I can remember in my head like thinking like, oh, that CDP is nice, but I don't know. I agree. I typically would not like buy something and then just load up a mag, rack it, and then just like put it in my waistband,
Yeah.
unless it was a Glock. Then I know that it's just gonna
Yeah.
work. I don't know. I'd feel more comfortable doing it with a Glock than most others. But
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to that. I would lean the same way. 1911s, I mean, there's just a lot more mechanics going on there. And then the thing about the ultra ones, I think where they kind of get a bad rap is that they are a little harder to get them to work 100%.
yeah,
They tend to be there is some truth to that. They tend to be a little more finicky at times. I just got a really good one.
yeah,
I got really lucky, but I have spoke to others that had ultra size and they had some issues with it. Um, you know, but
yeah.
really good. My wife owned a few as well, but she liked the like the Sapphire. She had a couple of 1911s that were 9mm, and those things. You expect to pick up a 1911 and have some oomph, but a 1911 and 9mm is like a toy.
Oh yeah, it's like butter.
They shoot so easy.
Yeah,
And she liked them, but I can't remember what the story was, but she decided she wanted to sell them for some reason or other. So
yeah.
that was probably about 6 years ago now.
I think part of it is, and this is probably true like for some females, and for me it was true like you know I think transitioning from um, aluminum frame and steel frame, like the moment that someone passed me, I think it was a Gen 2 17 or 19. I was
Hmm.
like, dude, this is it. Like I fell in love. And then, Gen 3 was finally when they achieved the perfection that they so called had. Are you a Glock guy at all?
So I am, but I'm a very late to the party, if you will. So my very first Glock wasn't even a Glock; it was a Polymer 80.
Okay.
So I got the Polymer 80. I learned a lot on that, and then I learned an appreciation of how the Glock mechanics work by that
Yeah.
whole process. And then next thing you know, my wife, she got a Glock 19, and she got the Robin Eggs blue, Cerakoted deal.
Nice.
So it's you know how women are; they like colors and all
Yeah.
that
It's
fun
got to be
stuff.
pretty.
If you saw my Instagram post, on Wednesday of her revolver, she's never even shot that thing, and I'm kind of glad she hadn't because that's kind of hard to find now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I got a Glock 19X. That's the only. I take it back. That was my first and only factory Glock purchase for myself was the Glock 19X, and I absolutely love that pistol. I haven't made any changes to it. It just shoots so good the way it is. I carry it
Yeah.
part of the time, and then oh yeah, I guess I that's not my only factory one because I have a Glock 44, the 22 as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
So I kind of got that just when ammo was so crazy. I was like, well, I got shit tons of 22, so I'll get one of those to kind of practice with, because it fits in the same holster and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
uh,
good. Like muscle memory, kind of cheap on the ammo, but good on the training. Um,
exactly.
the
Um,
someone mentioned something. Oh, well, I will say though too. My like, it's so funny when you ask somebody like, "What's your unicorn gun?" Like, what's the one thing that like you would just like love to get, or that you've been looking for, or whatever. And one of them, even though they are plentiful and they are, relatively inexpensive and easy to get, there's just something so special about the 19X.
mhm.
I think it's a combination of how unique the 19 size slide with the 17 size grip with 19 plus one and the um oh my god, I'm gonna
The
draw a blank.
lanyard loop.
The lanyard loop. Oh
Yeah.
man, it just has this like I am military. I am for kicking ass, and it just has that look. The stippling, I'm a Gen 2 Glock guy, so I got a bunch of Glocks from the 90s,
Okay.
and I'm so there's no finger grooves on them. There's no pick rail or anything like that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how they came from the factory. Then everyone was like, we need, finger grooves, and we need rails. And then they go through Gen 3 and Gen 4 and Gen
Yeah.
5. They remove all the shit that people were crying about for a year. It's just crazy. Really quickly, Truth Seeker. I'll be there Friday and Sunday. Going to hang with Aaron and Bailey at the JSD table. Okay, so I did not know that JSD Supply was going to be at the Chantilly Gun Show. It's probably it's about an hour and a half away from where I am, but I may be willing to make the trip out there to show them some love, because yeah, I had no idea. Um, JSC Supply is a hell of a company, and I want to make sure I support them. And it'd be great to pop by and see them too. So thank you for letting me know. Um, Jeff Cron. Okay, so yes, there are glowy black plates. So okay, I got to show you guys. So Come Out in PLA sent this to me, and this is like just for. Well, I'll explain it. Hold on. So our little community in our little 2,700 and some odd people here, and we have our little blue Chem Light logo, and we call ourselves Glowies, which typically is something that people don't see as a positive thing, but it's just become the thing.
Okay.
And I had Come Out in PLA that is a viewer, and the dude is just so awesome and so gracious, and he's sent me a few things. I love you, Come Out in PLA. And he hits me up and he's like, hey, can I send you something? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, you already sent me a couple things. Like, what is it? He's like, you'll see. So I get this, and it is, oh, damn it, a Glock backplate that is stainless. And I have, so you can't really show it on stream, but I didn't know if you knew that. Are you aware that you're not allowed to show?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, cool. So Ford's Custom Refinishing did this slide. It's a 19 slide in hard chrome.
Oh
And
wow.
it is like, I mean, exceptionally detailed. Like, it is beautiful. So he sends this back plate. Let me see if I can get some light on it. That is our logo. That is actually blue filled. And for you guys out there, I know all you guys are Glock lovers, but you're also DLD After Dark lovers. And if you want, there are only two of these in the world currently, and Come Out in PLA has one, and I have the other.
That's
Now,
cool.
I spoke to the guy that made them, and because he was actually a guy that I met at the Oaks, Pennsylvania. So, did you hear what happened in Oaks, Pennsylvania, with JST Supply kind of getting kicked out of there, and then he came back and said, "Okay,
No.
if I'm all right." So it's basically the most like badass story you could ever imagine. So he basically, guys, if we get enough orders stacked up, it's from 2A 3D print. He has a laser machine. He can do color fill. I can put an order in for these. Um, for these, I don't know what. I guess if he'll do two, he'll probably be willing to do whatever. Just put in the comments back plate if you would want to purchase one. Um, But yeah, 2A 3D print is the man. So what happened is in Pennsylvania, JSC Supply is out there in the greater Philadelphia area,
Okay.
and their local gun show, it's a huge gun show. It's like one of the top 5 largest gun shows in the United States.
Oh wow.
And he has a strictly 80%, business. Like he
Hmm.
does everything 80%. And the attorney general, and I'll say, because of legal stuff, other people that
Yeah.
may retain ownership in certain organizations that may help run certain things that have to do with certain shows, um, also kind of were trying to kick him out. So he was like, okay, I'll leave. So they basically got kicked out by the attorney general and some other folks, and he worked out a deal to purchase the actual gun show franchise. So when these people are like literally doing press releases of like, we kicked out the Ghost Gunner people, and he's behind the scenes working out a deal to buy it. So on the next show, when they think like we won, guys, he shows up and he has huge JSD tables in every single room in there. And not only that, he set it up to where in every single hall you saw JSD Supply and all the 80% stuff, but there was a 80% building class. So we had people come in that for their first gun bought an 80% and walked out, came to the class, had me, 2A 3D print, a lot of other people teaching them, showing them
Hmm.
how to do it by themselves, and they walked away with a working firearm that
Oh
day.
wow.
And it was
That's
just
awesome.
the most empowering thing, like the most freedom in one room that like is so cool. So yeah, he's a freaking pure Chad. Yeah, Chantilly's in Virginia, um, and it's not too far away. When I drove out there, it was like 4 hours or something. So I could imagine that he would make the trip out here. Jordan's balls have their own gravitational field. Yes, they do. Yeah. And the funny thing is I hit him up and I was like, so what you got going on? What are you guys getting into? He was like, oh man, I'm working on something big. It's like, something big? You just did something big. Like, how many big things do you need? Damn. But people like him, man, are what makes the world go round. They're already um, starting to prepare to fight the rule change. The proposed rule change is
Yeah.
supposed to be changing in May, and then pistol braces in August. What are your thoughts on that? Sorry, I'm talking too much.
On pistol braces or the 80%?
Let's say both.
I mean, all right. So as far as my thought on pistol braces, I kind of go back to the whole thing of pistol braces wouldn't even be a topic if SBRs weren't on the NFA.
Yeah,
I mean, I have one SBR, and I just every time I go to register another, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to feed the monster,
yeah,
and I run pistol braces and stuff, but it's like pistol braces, they're an accessory. I mean, we shouldn't have banned bump stocks. Accessories are not something that should be being scrutinized. But it's like every other. It's like everything. If they outright ban pistol braces for one reason or another, the next time there's going to be something else. It just is
yeah.
never ending. As
And
far
that's
as
what bump stocks did.
80%, yeah, that's what happened with bump
It
stocks.
opened
And
up the floodgates. It set
it
the
did.
precedent.
And
Yeah,
that was such a wrong precedent to set. And
yeah,
I hate to say it, it's kind of hosed us. And
yeah.
I play, a lot of
And
people were at play and allowed that to happen.
yeah,
Um,
and there were like, God bless them, there were a lot of people on our behalf that were fighting that spent hundreds of thousands of
Oh yeah, for
dollars
sure.
fighting it. The GOA, Firearms Policy Coalition, Military Arms Channel,
Yep.
and others. And I mean, and I'm forgetting people. I'm sorry, I wasn't involved with it. Crump knows a lot more than I do, but they put so much into it, and to walk away with a loss. I mean, man,
Yeah.
that's brutal.
Yeah. So 80% receivers, if there ends up being a ban on those, I just, I mean, the foundation of the country on the Second Amendment, being able to keep and bear arms and being able to, make a firearm, I mean, and 80%, I don't know. I mean, okay, so maybe we need to go to 20%, I mean,
Yeah,
but it's never going to end, I mean,
yeah,
are there 80%, firearms being used in crimes? I've not heard of any. I just, it's, you know, you,
yeah,
if we don't keep fighting back, it's just going to keep, going this direction. And the sad thing is about, as far as the ATF making rule changes stuff, is that they're essentially legislating around the legislation branch, the
yeah.
legislative branch of government.
You're
And they're
completely,
making up their own rules. Every time you turn around, there's something else changing, or okay, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. And it's just frustrating.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's I totally agree. Can agree more. And these, I gotta say, like, we're looking at all these restrictions that are imposed upon us for even like handguns, right? I had a guy come on the stream, Plastic Gats, who I didn't know.
mhm.
I mean, he was young. He was you never would know it. But the guy was young. He was talking about not being able to purchase a pistol, but he's
Yeah.
legally allowed to own a pistol. And I
Yep.
mean, rules like that are just so like they serve no purpose. He
Yeah.
is sitting here printing a Glock 17 while he can't go fill out a 4473 and printing, arm braces and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, any encroachment on our rights that were given to us like by our creator that are supposed to be protected by the United States government is an encroachment. And looking at where we are now to back like pre-civil war, where they said if you are military aged by the time you are 16, you need to be able to make your own firearm. You need to
Yeah.
be able to have x amount of caps and balls and x amount of black powder and x amount of like it what happened. Granted, we were at war, but it's also looking like we're not too far away from it right now.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, it's pretty sad, where we've come from, a couple hundred years as far as firearm law and lack of freedom. And it's not just the firearms. I mean, it's across the board. I
Yeah,
mean, freedom of speech is being, curtailed left and right. I
yeah,
mean, there's so much lies and deception going around, and they're able to run rampant with it. Um, so down in Florida, so that's where I grew up at, and most of my family's down there. I have family other places as well, but that's where I consider my hometown, and a little town called Live Oak. It's in Suwannee County, north part of Florida.
hmm,
And so in Florida, I have nieces and nephews that can't. They changed the rule where they have to be 21 to be able to buy any sort of firearm. So I don't know if you
really.
remember about that. Yeah, a couple
I
years ago, they,
I
it
didn't
was
even
after
know.
the shooting down there in
Oh,
Florida,
that's
and
right.
they were like, oh, we're gonna ban this and like binary triggers, and it was like everything
Yeah,
they could possibly do. And so I don't know how much of that, if any, has been reversed, because I'm not up and up on Florida laws, but I'm
yeah,
pretty sure my nephews, which are, I have nephews that are around the 18 age, they can't even buy a firearm. They're 18, they could join the military, can't buy a firearm, which is absolutely ridiculous.
it's so crazy.
So, and they grew up around firearms their entire life. I
Yeah,
mean, we all grew up in the same area, hunting and shooting and stuff like that. And it's just a shame. Uh, Yeah, I mean, I joined the military right. I mean, I wasn't even, was I 18 when I joined? No, I was, because I turned 18 before I graduated high school, but I joined while I was still in high school. You
Mm,
know, but and we had shooting team in high school and stuff like that. I mean, you don't see that anywhere anymore. The schools
that's
don't have that. So
crazy, man. My oldest brother is 10 years older than me, and he was saying that his friends that lived in like the more rural areas would be able to, number one, they would walk out of high school for like cigarette breaks, and they would have gun racks in their trucks,
vehicles. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
in the parking lot of the school, and no one, the principal had a truck with a gun rack
Yeah.
in it, and I'm talking like the 77 to 83 kind of time
Yep.
time frame, and it was just a completely different. It's a couple things. People are thinking that like evil is like just starting to exist or something, but it's not that. It's the velocity of information. It is like we are all able to get information from all over the country and all over the world at a literal click,
Yeah.
and we're getting, I mean, just like completely overwhelmed with information constantly. So we are all, what's up, Gertshot? What's up, P38? So we're all seeing all this stuff, and all these people that are like, we got to do something, we got to do something.
Yeah.
They're seeing information that this has always been happening. I would say, crime in my area, crime is down. Like I'm seeing less crime than when I was a kid. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, data can always be skewed. But the other thing you mentioned, going back one thing, just as I said, data. Um, you mentioned the 80 percenters. Like, are they being used in crimes and things like that? And I mean, I guess anything like red gas cans are used in crimes, right? So you never know. But the ATF is intentionally at times withholding, and if they're not withholding, they're skewing the data to make things appear a certain way. And then I go look at some stories online because I'm constantly looking for stuff to share with the community and just kind of tell
Sure.
them like what's going on. And I see this story, right? And it's a story about I think he was 13, 15, say a young teenager that was getting 80 percenters, and he was
Mhm.
building them and selling them. And he, I guess, was very skilled at it because he built and sold a lot. And a couple of kids came to his house to purchase one, and he also had one in his waistband during the transaction. And the guys robbed him. Basically, one guy got behind him, put him in a headlock. The other guy grabbed the gun, and then they all ran. So as they ran off, he drew his even though I don't necessarily see it as illegal, I'll say that they refer to it as an illegal firearm because it's a minor with a firearm,
Mhm.
whatever. Um, and I mean, he fired at two guys running away, but he let off a bunch of shots, and he actually accidentally shot his sister,
Oh wow.
and his sister died. And there was like 11.5 million views on that one video. So that's what they're seeing. And they're
Yeah.
thinking that like this is what's happening. So imagine being, these people that are like, I don't like guns, I hate guns, guns are bad, guns hurt people. I've talked to somebody that is so anti firearm and so anti self defense that I basically said, okay, if you're telling me that you wouldn't, under any circumstances, protect your life at all, this is somebody I could talk very casually with.
Hmm.
And they said no. And I said, if a literal gunman had a literal gun to your literal family, you are telling me that you just wouldn't do anything, you wouldn't rather have a firearm as an option to protect yourself with. And he said, I'll just give it to God. If that's my time to go, then that's my time to go. I'm like, those are the kinds of people that are seeing these videos,
Yeah.
getting enraged, and then they're going and telling stories that all these ghost guns are killing all these people, and this kid just killed his sister, and he was selling illegal guns, and then it becomes a socially, um, uh, and I always kind of say this: they're legislating socially, right?
Yeah.
So if I went around wearing a shirt that says "I build guns," people would be like, "Oh my god!" Like half the people would be like, "He's a dirtbag." Half the people would be like, "Oh, me too, bro." And that's kind of how they're like, legislating things socially, because when they're making things um, socially unacceptable to the point where either you can't speak about it, or you are silenced when you speak about it, or like they silence you, or you could lose your job if you speak about it. You could be seen as some type of animal if you speak about it.
Yeah. Sure.
It's setting this crazy societal, like, just they're casting a gray cloud societally over this type of thing, and it's crazy. I don't even know if I'm conveying
Yeah.
the message appropriately.
No, I get exactly what you're saying, and that's something that's been kind of a slow build over the years too, of withholding, certain information and then expounding or uh, accentuating other information to sway individuals one way or the other, especially people that are already kind of lean in one direction. Hey, this just pushes them further into that camp or what have you. And that's one of the reasons I kind of turned off cable TV years ago, because I just got tired of being fed the crap,
Yeah.
and not just on firearms topics, but just social topics and what actually is going on. And the news hasn't been the news in decades.
Oh yeah.
It's all, and it's on both sides too. I mean, a lot of people, I know people that are dead. I'm pretty libertarian on most everything. But I know people that are, hard far right, that it's like you can't tell them any different about anything. And then you have people that are the same way on the opposite side.
Dude, that's
And
the shit I love. Just a quick thing on that topic. I have literally sat there and seen people say, "I don't watch the mainstream media. I watch Fox. I watch Tucker Carlson." I'm like, dude, do you understand? Do you know? Like, you don't know? It's the corruption doesn't change. I mean, they're all batting
yeah,
for the same. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And same with the politicians. And that's why, I mean, we're kind of, not to get off on the political topic too much, but,
yeah. Go ahead.
having, the politicians, the way I view it, at least everybody's like, oh, when the Republicans take back control, that's the big thing you're hearing everybody talk about right now. It's like, come on, they had control. It's like,
We lost.
they want this constant, back and forth. And then, when the one side isn't winning or lost or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, when we get back in there, we're going to do this and do that. And then nothing happens. I mean, they're really the same, unless they cleaned house and kicked all those dumbasses out of there, on the Republican Party that have been there for decades, that haven't done nothing but line their pockets. Nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and when we're stuck in a two-party system, that's, I hate to say it, there's not really, I don't see really a good end, not an end that people want to that,
Yeah.
that type of system.
I agree. I agree. I
But
think it's. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah. And unfortunately, again, you got a lot of people that are just kind of, I call them kind of, lazy citizens. They don't necessarily, they just believe everything they're being told, and they just kind of fall in line, and they're not able to think on their own, or like, do any research on their own, or look at different sources.
Yeah.
And they just kind of fall into that. I have family members that are like this, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can't have discussions with them because they get all their information from CNN
Yeah.
or from Fox. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I can't help you guys.
Dude,
I mean, I'll have a conversation, but I'll have a conversation and try to have a debate, but a lot of times it just doesn't go anywhere. So
One of the things that I've seen that has helped immensely with people is they, because they're fed their information audibly, they can only convey what they've heard audibly.
yeah,
So typically what I would do is get in conversations and be like, telling them stuff like, yeah, but what about this? And what about this? What about this? And it didn't do anything. It was completely ineffective. And then I finally started asking them questions, and I would ask them questions and make them rationalize their belief and ask them deeper questions, like go 3 questions deep on one thing they said. Well, what does that mean to you? Well, what would that look like? Well, let's develop that a little bit more. And then and then I'm finding that they're like, well, shit, I never thought about that. And all I want to do is push people enough, like you said, to do their own research. And the people
yeah,
that are like, I'm so on this side or so on this side that I couldn't bear look at a different news outlet or a different,
yep,
source or a different. It's about information, and I always, mention this, that we shouldn't just take things at face value. And I've made that mistake a lot in my life, even
yeah, me
recently.
as well. Yep.
Yeah, and I think we all have, and it's the only true way to, that I think I could be satisfied is if I get information from one source, get information from an opposing source, do my own research on it, and then come up with my own opinion.
Yeah,
And that's as realistic as I can get. And then still try to challenge my belief. And I think people don't have um, the ability. They don't choose to make the time for things like that. One, they don't think that it is as serious as it is and is going to be, I believe. And I think that we may find ourselves in a pretty ugly situation if things don't change. And I can't. I can't say like, oh, I'm on the right or I'm on the left, because I think, like you mentioned, that two-party system is dangerous. I think
yeah,
it was created specifically for the division and the bifurcation of our country, so we hate each other instead of looking at what the government and politicians are doing.
yeah.
And we have
It's definitely divisive.
yeah, very,
It's not, and it's the system, and it's the people, the people that unfortunately we're electing and keep electing, as a nation, and they're
yeah. I can
it's
only identify as a constitutionalist.
yeah,
Like that's the because even like when someone says libertarian, people get these ideas
yeah.
like
As far as the Libertarian Party is concerned, is they got a lot of issues of their own. So I register as independent,
yeah,
as far as for elections and stuff. But but I kind of lean more the libertarian side of things,
yeah.
But
No, I'm with you. I do in most cases as well.
but yeah. So
Yeah, I kind of
that's
feel like we got to have like so if you have a business, you have, standards, right? You have
sure. Yep.
standards, expectations, you have documents, you have, when you were in the military, you had an SOP, right? If the Constitution is our SOP,
It
and
is.
if at any point anything is in, direct conflict with the Constitution, then it can't be like it should be like cannot compute, like we
Yeah.
can't move forward with this. But this has been just slowly breaking down just everything. And this world that we're living in is exactly what Ben Franklin said. It's like this man that was probably, from what I've heard, basically a terrible person, but a very smart man. um, they He had said that well, God, I always butcher this. Those that would trade freedom for safety, or liberty for safety, um, will get neither and deserve neither, whatever it says.
Yeah, I know shit I'm yep.
Yeah, something very similar to that. Sorry, guys, someone's gonna correct me and put that shit in there verbatim, and I know, and I'm sorry. And the other one is at that moment, after the Declaration of Independence was, or after the Federalist Papers were completed, that woman had asked Ben Franklin, what do we have, a monarchy or a, um, uh, whatever, and he had said, a republic if you can keep it. And I see the direction that we're headed in right now is the like it is slipping out of the pads of our fingers, and just, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's almost a little bit of a hopelessness in a way, because we've
Yeah,
seen the direction we've kind of been heading. And it's like, well, how do we reverse course? You and I can't do it. Even a small group of us can't do it. It takes knowledge across the board for people to really see what's up and what's wrong, no matter what camp you're in.
yeah,
Hey, we need to start holding these politicians more accountable for their. I really think term limits would probably do a lot of good, because I see that as a lot of issues. People get into politics and they're like, it's funny how they get into politics, into Congress, and they're making a a couple $100,000 a year, and then in 4 years they're millionaires. I
yeah,
mean, it's a little it just, something's not quite right about that.
yeah.
And
It's all
not
about the
saying there's
money.
not some decent politicians, there are, but typically the decent ones that aren't stabbing people's their constituents in the back, or their other fellow politicians,
Yeah,
they don't last very long. They tend to, the good ones don't tend to stay there.
yeah. I think they were all decent at one point, and
Yeah.
then they became politicians. Um,
Yeah.
and I hate to be that guy, man. That's like, I'm not like an anarchist. I'm not like,
Yep.
I don't believe in that. I believe, in our country, and yeah, it's crazy, man. And all of you guys, what you're saying, build more, PP80s, yeah, build more guns, and that's so true. But guys, the other thing I would consider is skills, right? Anyone can take a gun from you anytime, okay? If if what you have to lean on is an item, or if you're prepping and you've got food stocked up, or you got water and that shit runs out, that shit can be taken from you. Those guns can be taken from you today. So all the whole, well, I don't touch on that, but like, if 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 they wanted to, they could come take all of my firearms today. What they can't take are skills and abilities, right? So focus on your skills, like, learn chemistry, right? Chemistry is a great way to learn how to do certain things, if you needed to, like, God forbid that. But chemistry is great. Lock picking, can you grow food? Can you germinate seeds and grow, can you plant trees? Can you keep shit alive? Do you have a trade where you can actually make money if we didn't have, if you needed to barter and we didn't have a monetary system as we do now? Can smith blades? Can you, I don't know, be a court gesture? Shit, I don't know. But like, there are things that are going to be way more powerful, and which somebody brought up something on. I have a big, like, kaboom at the end of the stream today, that somebody said, and it really hit me. It's about the whole CRS firearms thing. Are you like hip to what's going on with CRS firearms at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, a
Okay.
little bit. I know that he was picked up by marshals for his involvement with the auto key card thing. My understanding is that
Yeah.
auto key card was kind of like a sponsor, and he did some promotions for them.
Yeah.
And then, I know he was released. the
Yeah.
GoFundMe, I can't believe, it's really, touches my heart to see as many people, donate stuff. I've donated. A lot of people I know have donated, and for him, to get that much support in such a short amount of time,
Yeah.
was truly impressive. And I don't think, it almost seems to me, at least just from my perception, is that they're trying to squeeze him,
Yep.
to put him into a corner where he's going to maybe go against the guy
The other
that's
guy.
the auto key card guy. So,
You're a smart man.
um, but yeah. So I think he can beat it, but he's going to need a lot of continued support, because I just don't
Yeah.
see I don't see where the charges can really stick on him. I mean,
Yeah.
and of course I'm not him. I don't know him. I know of him. I'm a subscriber of his channel and stuff. But yeah, I think they're trying to make an example,
Yeah.
to try to, and I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised it's not even more of a coordinated attack against other people that they think they can drag down too. I mean, I know
Yeah.
the Rare Breed Trigger and Big Daddy Unlimited WOT Trigger
Mhm.
stuff was going on around the same time, but it wouldn't be a surprise if there was some more stuff that comes out here soon,
Yeah.
on some other. It just seems like a bit of a coordinated attack.
It is, and it's highly likely that you guys will see some things in the future. And one car, no, they did not. Luckily, some people were able to jump in and remove every single firearm from his home prior to like after he got picked up. Um, Everything was removed prior to him getting released because one of the and this is the craziest thing to me. Okay, and I'm not supposed to talk about the case too much. I would call him a friend of mine. I've been able to hold on, Vanessa Kitty, that is an excellent point. Learn how to learn how to teach how to learn, teach how to teach. That is
That's awesome.
a beautiful way to say it. That if there's one thing, and I do it all the time, even with building guns. My brother is like, "Oh, I want to build this." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's do. We're going to do it together." And the only thing I ask is that afterwards, you go teach somebody then too, and continue it, and so on, and it kind of hopefully will take the stigma away from that thing. But so I'd consider CRS a friend, and I've had the, you know, uh, I mean, him, his family. I met all of them in person, and he's just cool as hell, man. He's helped me so much with the channel over the past year, and I think meeting in person kind of was what like tipped it over to be like, okay, like
Sure.
we're besties now. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, everything that is on that indictment, all 20 pages, is a stretch. It is a reach. So there is another goal. The goal may be, like you said, for him to roll on, the owner of Auto Keycard, because the owner of Auto Keycard has been sitting there in jail for a year with all of his assets frozen.
Yeah, that's
And
ridiculous.
yeah, completely ridiculous. And part of it is because he won't roll over on it because I mean they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't sell machine guns, but that's a whole nother debate we probably shouldn't get into. But some spicy stuff. But basically, um, he not only hasn't implicated Matt, he hasn't even said a negative word about Matt and
Yeah.
CRS. And for that, I mean that takes a man, because I've seen people that were not only sent to jail, but were just handcuffed to a table for a day, and were like, okay, I'll tell you anything and everything. Even people that weren't guilty, they were just like, it's crazy. Like that kind of stuff will break somebody. And you know, this in the totality of circumstances, we have, the overstepping of some state things, right? We have some changes in Virginia. We have some changes in New York. We have, the ATF says they're going to double in size. Okay. The ATF says they're going to take your 80s. Okay. The ATF says they're going to take your braces. Okay. The ATF says they're going to take your force reset triggers. Okay. The ATF says there's another trigger that's kind of like this trigger, so we're going to take those triggers too. Okay. The ATF arrested this guy for selling pieces of metal with drawings on them. Okay. The ATF arrested another guy because he made videos that were sponsored by this guy that had metal cards with drawing. Okay. Like, this is getting to a point where this whole like ball that started out as just a couple of rubber bands is now like got weight to it. And if they do, and of course now the ATF is going to double their budget. Okay. So where are we headed? I don't know, but I could tell you the ATF, by determination letters and examination letters and opinion letters, are completely circumventing the legislative body of our
Yeah.
government. They're completely circumventing Congress, and they are writing law by hiding it under other laws. So they're saying, machine guns, possession of machine guns that are illegal, pre-May of 86, or post-May of 86 machine guns that are not registered, fall under, 16 USC or whatever. So because we are saying, we're experts, we're saying that, this Dremel piece card is a machine gun. I don't need to pass legislation on this. I just need to say that this belongs under that legislation, and then boom, it's a machine gun. And I have a white paper that is going out to probably already is going out to every single law enforcement agency in the United States that is showing what force reset triggers are, what they look like in the lower receiver from the top, the markings on them, FRT 15, WOT, and they are to be treated as machine guns. Like, this is going from, well, we're just going to, take them from, or ask people to, what do you call them? Surrender.
Surrender.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. I had COVID recently, and it totally killed my brain. To surrender, manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. That we're going to have them surrender their force reset triggers and sign a document saying that they surrendered illegal machine guns, which I could see that in the future possibly coming back to you. Oh, but if you don't surrender them, we'll just take them and then have you sign a different piece of paper that says we took illegal machine guns from you. And it's just so crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, hell, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought, that things have come to this.
Yeah.
with just, I mean, there don't think I had better things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, is this the the big problem in the country that they have to go after, accessories? Basically, that's all they are. They're dang accessories. And they don't make firearm any more lethal or non-lethal. They definitely don't fall under the definition of a machine gun, per the definition. So per their own definition, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't like them, so they're just gonna take them. So and I don't have any of the forced reset trigger. I do have a binary trigger I've had for quite a few years now. The Franklin Armory, the BFS 3.
Nice.
So
I got the Echo it's a Franken build. It's an LWRC lower with a PDW brace with a 10.3-inch Colt barrel with a BCM upper and a BCM
Nice.
bolt carrier
Was
groove.
this from the spare parts bin?
Dude, this was like, so this actually, I call this gun my moving gun. So I
Okay.
had a dude call me. He was moving out of state, and he ordered a an LWRC lower, and
Hmm.
they're they're expensive, right? And typically you
Yeah.
don't see just complete lowers. Usually, I've only seen complete firearms, and he was able to purchase a complete whatever the M6IC or whatever it is. Lower. And he got a call from the gun shop, went, did the paperwork, picked it up, left, and then like a week later, he gets another call. Hey, your lower's in. He's like, uh, okay. So he goes, picks it up, and he gets a second one, but he's moving, short on money, and he calls me, and he was like, hey, I was gonna keep it, but you know what? I'm leaving in a few days. Like I'll sell it to you for cheap. I got it for like $230.
Oh crap! Wow,
Yeah, so I picked that up.
you did good.
Yeah, right. Then there's it was a 14 and a half inch Colt barrel that my buddy paid to get machined down to
Hmm.
10-3
Okay.
and threaded. And I mean, it is a beautiful job. And he didn't even shoot it. And I got that for like, I think I traded Glock parts for that. And then I did purchase a Midwest Industries rail. This is when Keymod and M-Lock were like just out, and it was, you know,
Yeah.
Keymod was so cool. And I got BCM stuff, I think, in a trade. I did buy the charging handle, and I'll tell you, I put my can on that with the Fostech binary trigger. Oh my god, like it is nuts! It is a blast. But I put one of those primary arms prismatic 1X Cyclops optics on it,
Hmm.
dude. I've been
The
running
Gen 1
the.
or Gen 2?
I think it's a Gen 1. It's a little
So
bit
it's,
larger.
hold on. Does it look like this?
I think, yeah, yep, looks exactly like that. Yep.
Okay.
I don't have the caps on it.
Yeah, this is actually on loan from somebody, but yeah, I have a couple of the Gen 2s. The Gen 2s are just freaking awesome.
Really?
Yeah, you got to
Man,
get it. You got to get the Cyclops Gen 2.
man,
It's just it comes with all the mounts, and it's like really small and compact,
yeah.
and it's got
It
the
is super
APSS
small.
recticle.
It's
Yeah,
like the
really
size of
small.
a microdot.
And clear. I mean, and I got horrible eyesight. I got horrible stigmatism.
Yeah,
So red dots for me, it's not really a dot. It's like a big old freaking star.
yeah,
And so this is like the answer to all my issues. I will never buy for myself another red dot if I can help it. If I can
yeah.
just keep on buying. Matter of fact, I had one in the cart today. I almost bought me a third one because
All
uh,
right.
yeah, but yeah, check out the Gen 2 if it's really they did just a badass design on that thing.
I
So
will. I had one of the reps from Swamp Fox on the show, and
okay.
he was like, and I got a Swamp Fox Justice on one of my Glocks, and I love it. And I'm the same way. Like all my friends, when they look through Red Dot, they see this like perfect dot. I see like a comma with like a comet shooting off of it, and like
Yep.
I just find like I pick a spot on the red dot. So I
Yeah.
guess I have astigmatism. I had what's up, Serenity? I didn't know. I just thought that's what red dots look like. Like I had no idea. And then I started hearing about all this, and
Yeah.
then I started really noticing and picking up on it. And I was like, oh my god! And then I took a picture of my red dot, and I was like, whoa, that's not what I see. So
Yep.
going to that, I got that for super cheap, like 120 bucks with the mounts and all that. And then I threw it on an ARMS because it fits any T1 mount. Um, so, 120 bucks, like, but man, you're making me want to get another one. And the guy from Swamp Fox was like, look, we are making some new shit, like the new like Justice and the new Liberty and the new like all the things they're coming out with are like right on the ankles of Hollow Sun, but they're cheaper. And he said, "Man, I got behind that Primary Arms Gen 2, and it was just remarkable." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, it takes a man to say that on a stream with a whole bunch of people that you're trying to sell your products to, you
Yep.
know."
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, it's probably one of the most impressive optics that I've ever uh well,
Agreed.
I'm due for a trim. So,
That's hilarious, Corn Pop. He's a bad
but
dude.
but yeah, I actually got my first Swamp Fox optic back in the fall when I got my 6.5 Bergar. I got the gosh darn it, what is it? A 3 to 12. What is it? Their Tomahawk. I can't remember exactly which.
Yeah.
I did a video on it, so but it's the only one I got, and it's a pretty nice optic for the money. And clear. It's a first focal plane scope. And the only thing I was a little bit kind of disappointed with, and I did reach out to them, and they kind of, it was right before I left for my elk trip in Colorado, so I didn't really have time to RMA it. But
Mhm.
it looked like they scratched up the bell of the scope and they touched it up with touch up paint. So I was a little kind
Oh,
of disappointed about I was like, this is brand new. It should look
really?
like somebody just kind of, so I
That
mean,
sucks,
they
man.
sent me a coupon code, if I buy something or whatever, but not a good first experience, at least with the quality control. I mean, it zeroed fine, and it's held up fine. It's a nice piece. Just cosmetic blemishes, like that. I don't know. I mean, it should have been sold as a blem,
Dude,
in my
if
opinion.
you want, I got a guy there that's really high up in leadership. Like he would jump in and take care of you really quickly.
Yeah, it's not like kind of my thing to them was like, well, it's going to get drug around the mountains in Colorado anyways.
Yeah, that is
But
true.
it was kind of a, when I contacted, and they were very nice. They said, we'll take it in or whatever, and they ended up giving me a coupon like with some discount for, kind of for my trouble for a future purchase and stuff.
Nice.
But it was kind of, I'm pretty easy going on stuff like that. But when when you buy optic, and I think this was like between $400 and $500, it's not super cheap, but it's not
Yeah.
super expensive. But still, you don't expect to see something like that making it, off the line without being thrown into a blem pile, you
Yeah.
know.
And you
And
do
it looked like it was scratched, and somebody actually, noticed it and even tried to, because like the paint is kind of bubbled up on it.
yeah,
But
that's
but
a little troubling to hear.
yeah, so
But I mean, you're right. Like those are, items that we take out to go get beat
yeah,
up
my
and
stuff gets
all that.
used. So it wasn't like it was just, kind of like the way I worded the email, I was real polite about it. I was like, look, just, you guys should maybe try to check these out a little better before they leave your manufacturing facility.
Yeah.
Because, people don't, expect to purchase something and have these types of, blemishes on there that obviously somebody saw even and tried to kind of,
Try to
cover it up.
fix. Yeah.
So, but but yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a nice optic though. I like it. I'll probably buy something else and see what my experience is. I mean, maybe it was just a fluke thing. I mean, everybody can put out something, but I just, kind of my thing was like, look, hopefully your other, you're QCing your stuff a little better than that. And this was just a fluke thing.
Yeah, I'm
But,
hoping it was just a lemon. I've had, pretty good luck with their stuff. I'm sorry, I had to send something out real
oh
quick.
no, you're fine. Yeah, and a lot of other folks have too. Matter of fact, this particular scope, Cyclops Joe had done a review on it, and that's he's somebody I hold in really high regard in regards to optics,
Hmm.
and optics review. So I don't know if you're familiar with Joe,
No.
but yeah, check him out. He's for optics, scopes and whatnot, all sorts of different scopes. He does some really kick-ass reviews, and He's got, I think he just passed 75,000 subs, so he's been around for a while.
Nice.
He's a good guy from Texas, older guy, but anyways, he did a review on this, and I was like, man, that's I think that'll work for me for what I'm trying to do, and I picked it up, and I was like, man, this is nice. And then I got to the bell of the scope, and I saw that I
That's
saw
a
the
shame.
scratch with some touch up paint on there, so that was great.
Yeah, yeah. I've been kind of impressed with their scopes. One thing I don't have, like, I have long guns, but I don't have like a reach out long gun,
Okay, so I have a
and
few of those, but
yeah, that's what I need to work on. And I had, man, I so regret this, but the last time I sold firearms will be the last time that I sell firearms. I'm never going to sell anything again. Like, if I buy it or build it, it's staying in one of these two safes, for forever. And I had a Remington 700 and 300 Blackout,
hmm
the AAC uh, collab model, whatever it
yeah,
was,
yep,
threaded in 5/8 by 24. So I was
yep.
running a can on it. Took it out for my first time hunting. Like, I fell in love with the gun, man. And I had a Nikon glass on it, and it was just incredible. Like, tack driver, man. So I sold it stupidly, and it was one of those situations where I was like, so I sold that and 8 other guns, and I was like, I'm gonna get them all right back. So I
Mhm.
just, financially needed money. I'd lost a job, and I was like, I
Yeah,
need
stuff
money just
happens. Yep.
for yeah, yeah, and we do retain a lot of value in collections like
Oh yeah.
these, right? And I was like, I just need money for a little bit, so I'll be right back and get this. So the dude, I missed one payment by one day,
hmm
and I called him. He didn't even call me or bother me or anything at all. And I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I just forgot to pay. I'll go ahead and make a payment." He was like, "Yeah, yeah, take your time. No big deal." And a week had gone by, and I call him, and I was like, "Hey, I actually have all like $3,790 to come get all of my guns back, which was like 8 grand worth of firearms. Okay,
hmm
custom Glock. Like, before building Glocks was cool, I built a 100% non-Glock, and it's all sorts of stuff, man. And two Gen 2 Glock 17s from 89 and 91 that were just like workhorses, and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, he was like, "I'm sorry, I've sold the pawn shop."
Oh
And I was
crap.
like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I've sold the pawn shop." So he said, "You can." I said, "Well, can I go to the person that you sold it to? Like, you would. Why didn't you tell me when I called you, saying that I was late on the payment?" And he totally blew me off. But I asked him if I could go to the guy that's purchasing the pawn shop from him, because I wanted that. I had no other, long distance rifle. I got
Yeah.
everything I have is like a rifle to be used in yelling distance, and well, roughly. And he had said everything has already gone to auction. It's
Oh
like,
wow.
oh man. So if you guys ever see, ever, anywhere in the world, if you see a super unique custom Glock 34 on a Timberwolf frame with a burnt bronze Glock 34 slide with a titanium nitrided threaded barrel with raised suppressor sights with a gold, yes, forgive me, a gold titanium nitride Punisher skull in the back, um, please let me know. I'd give the serial. Oh, actually, I won't give out the serial number on the frame, but I will give out the serial number that I had engraved on the slide and barrel. It is OMG WTF 34. So yeah, keep that in mind. Dart can yell out to 450 yards. I hear. Yeah, I'm known. My voice carries. And I know, I mean, a lot of the rifle, like even the 14 and a half inch that I got, like, can reach out well beyond the capability that I have.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not set up for it. So one of the things that I want to do is build um, a takedown AR that can reach out, but keep it in 5.56. And I know that's a little more challenging, but I think it could be.
When you say reach out, how far reach out?
I think four to 500 would be like a max.
Okay, that's actually really doable. So I used to shoot service rifle matches,
Hmm.
and I would shoot out to 600 yards with an AR, with a 20-inch
Okay.
AR, and that was iron sights. So we shot across the course, 200 yards, 300 yards, and 600 yards. 600 yards was prone. And then
Wow.
standing at 200, and then sitting and kneeling as well, and then prone at 300 as well. But we shot. The big thing with us is we had to shoot. As the distance, increased, we had to shoot heavier bullets typically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at 600 yards, when I
77 grain.
yeah, I shot 80 grainers, and 80 grainers, you can't load them to fit in a mag. They're longer than mag length,
Oh,
so we had to hand load them in there to shoot. I mean, you could shoot
wow.
a 75 grain. There are 75 grains that you could shoot, but if you could get something with a little bit more weight, it would be better. And I knew guys that shot out to 1,000 yards with ARs, but they were using like 90 grainers that they were like really long
Man.
bullets. So
Yeah.
using your standard ammo, but to go to 4 or 500 with an AR is really not it's not undoable at all. But you're going to want to use heavier stuff. So if you can use 75 grain, or there are some 77 grain stuff that will fit into a mag,
Yeah.
that's the way to go. Matter of fact, I have an 18-inch rifle gas system build that I built a couple years back, or a few years back now, that I have some 75 grain, 75 or 77 grain burgers
Mm.
sitting in my reloading room, that I have yet to work up, and I have brand new Lapua brass as well,
Wow.
waiting to put together a load for that particular rifle for shooting, just for accuracy, because my range only has 100 yards.
Yeah.
But if I could, I just want to see what I can do with that particular setup, as far as in the accuracy department. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like even what I just did, I totally underestimated my firearms. I was like, oh, that's just for, you know, like yelling distance. And you know, I guess like I've been brought up before that, not just one day, but a bunch of times, I'd be out in an outdoor 100-yard range and, you know, move from my AR to my Scorpion
mhm.
and be hitting a silhouette and transition to my pistol and still hit a silhouette at 100 yards with a pistol. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times we don't give our guns like we may underestimate the firearms that we have. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I, I would like to build like something stupid, like something like a 12 and a half inch. I don't know. How would you set up something that's like a 12 and a half inch that could be broken down to keep it like 12, like 18 inches? Like I want the entire package when I break it down. So what I would do is get one of those quick detach D-ring
Okay.
assemblies.
Yep.
So and probably a law folder or something similar, but something that could make it to where the whole package doesn't exceed like 17 to 17 and a half inches. And I'm shooting for that kind of like frame of length because everything else that I have, like I got a Serbu Super Shorty, it's like 17 inches. Keltec Sub 2000 in glowy blue, 17 inches. Um, Scorpion with the binary trigger. Oh my
Yep.
God, it's so dope. 17-inch, like, and all my bags and stuff are around that frame. So if I could keep something in that size, but know that I could grab it and reach out to 3, 4, even 500 yards. Like that would be awesome. So, what type of setup would you make?
So 12.5 inch barrel. There's a lot of 12.5 inch 6.5 Grendel barrels. I think I would go with the 6.5 Grendel.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's it seems like the popular barrel lengths for 6.5 Grendel are 12.5, 16, and then you see 18 part of the time, and then there's some couple long ones. But if you look at like Ballistic Advantage and some of the other companies that make barrels for 6.5, 12.5 is pretty dang popular. Matter of fact, I have a 16-inch 6.5 Grendel, but I'm considering next time I build one doing a 12.5 inch.
Okay.
And 6.5 Grendel is got good knockdown power, and it has the accuracy to a pretty far distance.
Yeah.
So that I think would be the route I would go. As far as parts compatibility, everything's compatible except for the bolt. You got to get a 6.5 Grendel specific bolt, and then magazines would be the other thing. So I built the one I have. I built specifically for a purpose, and that was deer hunting. So
6.5.
Yep.
Okay.
I built it 2 years ago. I've taken a deer each season with it, and it's pretty dang accurate out to a couple hundred yards. I haven't stretched out past about 200 yards though.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the deer I took this past season, took a nice buck. It was at 200 yards standing, and it was a perfect shot. So, and like I said, it more oomph than a 5.56, since you're saying maybe a little bit more distance. And you could definitely, I'd have no problem shooting at a deer at 300 to 400 yards with that setup I got for sure.
Nice. I'd consider that. I'm a stickler for consistency, and of course I got a bunch of like oddball guns too, but I'd say most of my firearms are like double stack 9s, and most of my rifles are 5.56 Stanag, but also and parts compatibility, kind of the armory concept.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go through a blackout because
not because the distance kills you. If you want something that's got a little bit of distance, I love 300 blackout. I hunted with one of those for years. It's actually one of my favorite builds, and killed a lot of deer with that thing. But I was finding myself in situations where hey, maybe I want to shoot that deer out past 100 yards, and the 300 blackout is kind of limited, especially subsonic. So I was hunting the last few years. I hunted with that. I was using subs specifically, and you just really 100 yards is stretching it with a subsonic round. And I was using rounds that were marginally subsonic at that. Anything heavier would have been, a no-go with that particular build. But
dude, I got a story for you about hunting with subsonic rounds. It did not go. Remember my first hunt that I told you about? Yeah. So I brought my Remington 700. I actually bought that gun specifically for that hunting trip. Otherwise, I would have brought a suppressed Polish AK. And I end up going out there, and of course I'm like, okay, I got this brand new Gucci, gun, well, Gucci-ish gun, and I got a can on it, and I want it to be super quiet because like that's why I got it, and I almost got one of those H&R partner single shot during the blackouts. Those were cool as hell. That's back when they were like $350, but I ended up getting this, and I go out there. And I swear to God, like within a half an hour of us sitting in the blind, we see deer just walk out into the field, and this guy like studies that area. Like he knew which deer they were. He knew like how long they'd been there. He knew all that stuff. And one came out probably about 75 yards from me. We
Yeah.
ranged it at like 70 something. And he was like, take it. Yours is quiet. He had like some crazy like 480 Ruger or 280 Ruger. I don't remember what it was, but it was something nuts that was like a 308 cartridge that was like freaking neck down to like a 17 HMR or something. Do you know what round I'm talking about?
No.
Dude, I gotta pull this up and see what the hell it was, but I think maybe 280 Ruger sounds right. But so I get like right on this deer, right in the
Yeah.
vitals, and I'm like, all right, it's on. Like I'm gonna do it. Yeah, 280 Remington. No, that can't be it. And I break the shot, and it hits him, and I thought it hit him in the vitals
Hmm.
because he reared up and then just toppled over on his side, and then he just scoots up and gets right back up and starts running. And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I stood up, I racked the bolt, and then I fired at him. I missed, and then I am like running the bolt like a just like a fiend. I'm just like because I'm trying to get him, and he literally U-turns, he button hooks and comes back towards us, and then he jumps over the like it's kind of like a big hill mound before you enter the
Yeah.
woods, and then it just sounds like he crashes, and then we don't really hear anything else. So we're like, okay, he's bleeding out there. So another deer had came out, and he was at like 175 yards,
Hmm.
and my buddy took him with that crazy like to whatever the hell it was. This shit is going like 3,800 feet per second. Like it is crazy. And the deer didn't even move at first. Like when he first got hit, I thought he
Hmm.
missed. And he's looking through a scope, and he's like, it's a hit, it's a hit. And the deer didn't even move. And then he put another one, he racked the bolt and then shot it again, caught it in the vitals. It kind of, ran off, and then it thunk, and then it, was gone. We got his deer, field dressed it. The first time I ever saw blood, poop, and corn. All
Awesome.
yeah, it was great. So that first shot that he hit was a gut shot, and it
Oh
just
boy.
blew everything all
Yeah, that
over.
sucks.
Yeah, but it was a good learning experience. I'll tell you that, and
Oh
he
yeah.
made me do it. And
So.
we tracked my deer that I hit for
Hmm.
5 hours, and we could not find it. Blood trail dried up, and he said the next season he said he saw him. I was like, damn it. So
Wow.
yeah,
It happens, I mean, that's part of hunting. So I got a picture pulled up of my deer here, and I don't know if you can really see that thing or not. So
oh
probably
wow,
probably probably not very well,
yeah,
uh, but yeah. So it was a 7 point. It was on public land.
there we
So
go. It just like cleared up big
yeah,
time. That looks great, man. What kind of stock is that?
CTR,
Oh, okay, okay.
a Magpul CTR. Yep.
Oh, it's a sling. I see.
Yeah, I got a sling kind of slung around there. So,
Have
and
you
that was with
seen?
a 1-8 Strike Eagle Gen 2 1-8 scope. I love that scope for that sort of hunting.
Nice,
It's quick for close in stuff, and then um, whatnot. But yeah, that's
nice.
kind of another little picture of me there with that guy.
Oh hell yeah.
But yeah, it was day before Thanksgiving, and like I said, public land. And I'm a meat hunter, so I don't really hunt horns.
Hmm.
And honestly, on public land, you don't really see big deer like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I say big. I mean, I'm in North Carolina, so they're not really that big, especially on public land. So he was like maybe 150. He wasn't super big,
Yeah.
um, but anyways, you know, I was day before Thanksgiving, and it was super cold. And I figured everybody normally in past years, there's normally a ton of hunters, but it was like 20 degrees. I
Oh
think by
yeah.
the time I got out of the wood, I got out there about 6 o'clock, and it was cold as heck. There was no other hunters. I couldn't believe it, and I saw deer like 50 yards before I parked. I saw deer on the side of the road.
Wow.
So then I hiked in, a few hundred yards, because I had saw a deer where I shot this one at a few nights earlier at the end of the day, kind of crossing, but it was like 450 yards away, and I saw it right before it went into the tree line. This is like a big power line clearing. It's actually owned. This particular public land is owned by Duke Energy. It's public land here.
Okay.
But anyways, it was just sun coming up, and that deer came walking along the tree line at 200 yards, and I just grunted at him, and he stopped, and I took one shot, and it went right. I didn't tear up any meat or anything. It was right behind the front shoulder, exactly where I needed to shoot him. He ran about 20 yards, and I walked down there. It was a standing shot because I was just kind of, I ground hunt. I kind of walk around and sit and just watch and stuff like that. I walked down there to where I shot him, and I didn't see any blood. And I was like, what the hell? No way I missed that deer at 200 yards, because I just shot that rifle at 200 yards, like no problem with that thing.
Yeah.
And I started walking the direction he went, and I smelled him. And because deer have, when you shoot them, especially, they have kind of a distinct smell.
Yeah. Like
and he was he died right away, because I had, he ran 20 yards, and he expired.
Yeah.
It was an awesome day. I hadn't, matter of fact, I took him to taxidermist, and I'm getting a European mount. I only got one deer bigger than him, and he's on my wall. So,
nice.
And that was a bow hunt. That was a crossbow many years ago. So I haven't shot a deer like that in a long time. I mean, I normally shoot does because I just like them. I love to hunt. And a lot of times I see deer, I just don't even shoot. If I already got one for the season, I'm just out there. After one deer is just enjoying the woods and stuff. So
yeah, dude, that's great. Like tracking and just walking and running into other animals.
Yep.
Like it's just cool as hell, man. I like that.
That's my peaceful place. I get a lot of I regenerate myself a lot when I just spend time in the woods. It's just kind of my time away from everything,
And also the amount of kind of like a combination of calmness and exhilaration of being behind a scope.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just this like blend of like, I don't know, some type of like just like calmness over your body, but still, I don't know, like it's just exhilarating and pumping, and it's also like hyper focused for that moment.
Yeah.
And then, like, God, man, I need to go back out, and I just need to shoot in general because I've been just stacking ammo for the last 2 years. I haven't been shooting.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of shooting. I got a few reasons to get to the range, but I've been on a little bit of a drought. I shot a lot in the fall, kind of leading up to hunting season, and then getting ready to go to Colorado and stuff like that. I got some projects and stuff that I kind of need to get the range for. But yeah, I mean, hunting. I mean, the good thing about hunting is that you go out there and you can enjoy all that time, but you're not going to spend a lot of money in ammo.
yeah, that's for sure.
So,
Corn Pop has a good question. We can wrap up here in a moment. Corn Pop says, "How much velocity do you lose with the 6.5 and a 12.5 versus 16?"
I don't have a 12.5. If I had to throw a guess out there, you probably lose. If I remember, because I remember reading velocities on that, I want to say it was like 200 feet per second. I think
Okay. That's not that
200-ish, but don't quote me on it. So
you want to know where my dreams were crushed? When I learned that, and actually, you can guess. Do you know what the FPS difference is between an 8.5-inch barrel 9mm and a 16.5-inch barrel 9mm?
No.
If you were to just totally take a wild guess, what do you think?
The difference, I don't think there's a huge difference. It's probably like less than 100 feet per second.
Bingo. The average is 50 feet per second.
Oh,
I
wow.
I couldn't believe it. And I see all these tests. I'm like, there's no way. Like, that shit's got to be like the power of a 357 Magnum coming out of that thing, and it's nope. It's just like, I mean, it's good to know though that there's really no reason to get a 9mm that's longer than 8.5 inches. So for
Yeah.
everyone out there, stop it there if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at what the barrel length was the round designed around. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like the 300 blackout. That's another one that really going from that's one of those that really around a 10-inch barrel, 8.5 to 10, 11 inches, like optimal. Anything longer than that really is kind of a waste with a 300 blackout.
Yeah, it's just extra weight. It
Yep.
it doesn't do much.
Mine's an 8.5 inch. So the one 300 blackout I got is 8.5 inch.
Peak performance.
Yeah.
Speaking of performance, guys, today I opened up my finger. I'm tempted to post it on Instagram. If you've seen my Tales of the Mup, the 80% SIG 320, I finally finished the build. There's still some burrs to work out and still something, but dude, this was by far the most challenging 80 that you can build, period. Now, I haven't built an 80% 1911, so I may find that the 1911 is more difficult, but I now have a white SIG 320 that was dirt cheap, that is home built and unserialized for like dirt cheap from JSD Supply. So if you guys saw in the chat earlier, somebody dropped in a link. I don't know who it was. I'm going to drop in a couple links for you guys. I do have a Brownells affiliate link, so if you guys are ever going to pick something up from Brownells, it would be awesome if you could help support the channel by using the Brownells link. Let me see if I can grab it here real quick. Give me one moment. And if you could make sure you shout out where they can find you again on Instagram, on YouTube, and because you have a great channel. You do a great job with reviews and a lot of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just it's very simple. Christian Grest.
Yeah.
So
you kept it easy.
Yeah, so I just kept my name. I thought about doing a rebranding at some point, but every time I thought about it, I was like, I just been running it this way for a while. So on Instagram, it's at Christian Grest. So everything's pretty simple with me. I'm easy to find, and I don't have a common name. So because my name's not real common, that makes it even easier. So
yeah, oh yeah. Hold on.
And I'm also on TikTok, unfortunately.
Are you really?
Yeah, you know what though? I don't know. I don't put a lot of effort into it. I got some videos on there, but they pretty much shadow ban me over there. So they either shadow ban me or every time I post a video, they don't they take it down. So they say it violates their rules and stuff. So I don't put a lot of I don't put a lot of faith into. It's just TikTok's kind of I don't put a lot of effort in it. But Instagram, I post a lot on Instagram. Like I said, a lot of my original heart was in photography and stuff like that. So I do a lot there. And then I post out a video once a week. That's kind of my schedule. Normally on Sundays on my YouTube. Sometimes I'll do 2 a week. Mm-hmm. No, definitely not Christian breasts. It's amazing. It's funny you mentioned that, Corn Pops, because a lot of people mess up. You wouldn't believe how how badly people mess up my last name.
I mean, it does kind of sound like it, like if you just say it quickly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Well, that's one of the I've heard that, and so I always tell people, if they're I said, yeah, it's like the toothpaste, but with a G, and then
Yeah,
that's how I explain it.
that's
But yeah,
actually really creative. Here, I found the Brownells link, guys. Yeah, even I'm gonna go hop on and buy some stuff from Brownells. Pro tip: if you guys rock full size double stack locks, the 21 round magazines from Magpul are like, I don't know, like 15 to 18 bucks. And I found a factory 24 plus one Glock mag. So it's like in between the 17 and the
33.
33 rounder,
Yeah.
yeah, or the in between like the 19 plus ones, like that kind of thing. And it's cool because it's like a half-inch bigger than the 21 round mag pull, but they're great for backup mags because they're just like not too big, but they're large, give you extra ammo. So you can pick up some of those there. Anything like that will obviously help the channel, guys. We also do have the PWEDC patches still for sale. So make sure that if you guys are interested in the PWEDC patches, they are still available. And I don't believe we're going to be selling any more of the DLD Chem Light patches. I think there's only like 6 left, and I'm probably going to just scoop them all up from Crump just so I can keep them to have like mementos. So those last like 6 are going to be like the last ones forever. Sport, if you could do me a favor and post the 3 store, I'll post one, Glowy's PX bigcartel.com. So this is one of our merch stores. That was the first one that we did that has the semi auto keycard shirt. And also Glowy's big. Actually, I got it sportcartel.com and bwefirearms.bigcartel.com. So we have a store that we set up with and for BWE Firearms. So if you guys want to support him too, you can get cool stuff. Like, you guys know that he's recovering. He's in remission actually from colon cancer.
Yep.
And not only does he have a shit bag on his hip basically, but he wears a denim shop apron. So we made the denim fanny pack. It's a tactical shit pack in honor of Hoff.
Nice.
And there's also a lot of great, like really nice branded BWE firearm stuff with Uzis all over it, micro Uzis, and lots of cool shit. So check it out. Which one is your that's OnlyFans. You got to pay extra for that, Chuck Norris. At least Hoff has all his fingers. That's true. Kimball does not. Kimball is missing a quarter of one finger that was very kindly removed from a machine at work. Yeah, so make sure, guys, support Christian. Hit up his YouTube, watch some of his videos, share them, cast them onto a TV, and just show his channel some love. Show him some of the glowy love. And also hit him up, follow him on Instagram. I do have one question before we go. What do I need to do to get in to the BOP stuff? I need that onesie, man. I need that onesie.
Well, the onesies probably those are a one-time deal. So here would be my thing. So the brown nose guys are really active over on Instagram, and I saw that you're affiliate. So that's much appreciated. I'm also affiliate of theirs as well.
Oh, nice.
But post pictures, periodically, show them some love, tag it and, in good taste and stuff. And it takes a little bit of time, but they take notice, and, eventually you'll get an invite. So there's a few of us out here, like I said, start leaning that direction, and create some content, and tag them in it. And, we'll, there's a few of us out here that'll root for you to get in
Okay.
there. But it takes a little bit of time. It was about 6 months of, posting quite a bit for, and I've been a customer of Brownless for a couple decades. So it was like,
Yeah.
and I have a dealer account with them and everything. So, but yeah, it takes a little bit of time, and just show them you're interested in getting in there, and
Yeah.
you'll get in there. So you got a great channel, and you got some good picks and stuff, and it
Appreciate
really, I'm not super creative, and I got in there. So
it. You got in there early too, man. You
yeah,
gotta.
it was pretty early on. So I think I've been in there 4 years, almost 4 years, over three
Wow.
years, I think. So I think the end of 2017 or something like that, or maybe it was 2018. I don't know. It's been a while. I've been
Yeah.
in there for quite a while. So
Yeah, I saw like Swamp Dog got in, Shooting Gallery New England got in, and they got the onesies, and I was like, oh my God, like I make jokes all the time about wanting an adult onesie, and then I can get a Brownells adult onesie done. What do I need to do?
that
Here's
was
my
like one of
channel.
the best. The onesie was, so they do some pretty cool stuff. You probably seen every year around the holidays.
Hmm.
They come up with some idea of some sort of BOP Brownells, gift item to send everybody. The onesie was, I think, by far my wife's favorite that I've ever gotten. I've gotten skin tight boxer briefs. I've got with Brownells all over them. I've
Nice.
gotten socks. I've gotten some other things, and a lot of times they send out just little packages, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the onesie was pretty freaking badass. I wear the crap out of those things when it's
Oh, dude.
cold and I'm just lounging around the house. Man, those things are awesome.
Hell yeah, man. I would literally rock that thing. Like, I'm the guy, like, I carry a Glock 43X in my sweatpants, like, 24/7. Like, people are like, dude, how do you carry in sweatpants? Very carefully. So if I got the onesie, I would have to rock like a shoulder holster or something like that because I don't know. I've transitioned now to, going from, carrying while I'm out to carrying while I'm out and at home to now carrying while I'm out and at home and sleeping with a gun in my waistband. So I think I may be taking it a little too far, but I just, I don't know. I just, the feeling of like, I see these videos where are people that are armed that like have a whole gun room and another level in the home get their doors kicked in by guys, and
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I can't take. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so
Um,
much for having me. It was a fun night, and my pleasure. And thanks again. I really appreciate it.
oh yeah, and you're welcome on. Whenever, if
All
you
right.
ever see us on, and we're just chatting, and feel free to jump in chat and be like, hey, dude, send me an invite. I want to come on,
All right.
and
Awesome.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
let me know how we can help support you and your channel and your Instagram, and everybody in chat. Make sure you show Christian some love. He's a wealth of knowledge with firearms, and you're all mostly going to be jealous about his BOP stuff, except Chuck Norris apparently. Um, but guys, I'll end the stream how I end it every single time, and this is where I start to see the viewers go because they know what I'm going to say. But I'm going to say this: rule number one is be kind. Being kind is the most important thing that you can do, and it's free, but it gives you the highest reward, right? It's an important thing. Live a life of care, contribution, compassion, contribute to others, even if you're down on your luck. Like, the true measure of a man is contributing to others while you may be going through challenges yourself. And when you bless others, you'll get blessed. That's how the world works, typically. And also, of course, we know that the only thing that stops evil is good men that are highly skilled in violence. So make sure that you are maintaining your skill of violence, and be safe, be dangerous, and keep that thing on you. So I'll see y'all later. Thank you. Thanks, Bob. Bob, sub to your channel. Truth Seeker, good stream. Truth Seeker, I may see you on Friday. I'll see what I can do. Or tomorrow, Friday. Yeah. All right, you guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Take care.
See you.